balmy 15 degrees outside, just past 6 o'clock on this Monday evening, December 26th, the day after Christmas. Nice cooling breeze blowing out of the northeast. Just kidding, it's freezing out here. Heading on into the Star for some poker. Well, not the most fortunate start to the night. Seems like a fairly manageable table. But very early in the session, I get dealt 7-6 offsuit. I think it's 7 of hearts, 6 of spades. In the big blind, there are several limps ahead of me. My buddy, Bo, is sitting to my right, or he's in the small blind, and he says, oh, I should raise this, but I won't. And of course I check my option. Flop is money. 7, 6, 3, 2 diamonds and a club. So I flop top 2. Bo leads out $15. I don't feel like I have any choice here but to raise. A lot of value to be had here. But I think I might have made a sizing mistake. I bump it up to $35. A short stack in early position calls, and Bo calls as well. The turn is a 10 of hearts, so not a great card. 8-9 gets there, but I don't feel I can stop betting. Bo checks this time. There are plenty of other draws available, so I make it 80. And our friend in early position ships it all in there for 48 more, so for 128. Bo folds, I call, and the river is an offsuit 10. Our friend turns over Queen 10 of diamonds, so he had a lot of outs. He just hit the most painful one. Down about 200 on that hand. Gonna get a 5-hour energy, not 2. Not 2 of them. And get back in there. Got a compliment on my haircut today. About the only victory I've had at the poker table. We are short-handed and there's not enough seats to combine, so we were down to 4-handed and I was straddling every hand, both under the gun and on the button. This was an under the gun straddle. I looked down at ace-4. It limps to me, I make it 20, 1 caller. The flop comes out 10, 9, 5 with a 1 heart. I lead out for $20. Caller calls, or the limper calls. Turn is a 6 of hearts. We love that. No reason to slow down, so we pump it up a bit. We bet 60, and our opponent shoves all in for 220. We have to fold. Currently in the game for $500 and have about 150 in the stack. So go back in there and we'll top up and see if we can win a hand or two. heading on in there. Probably play till 3 or 4. Late night tonight. Well, it looks like I'm gonna be waiting a little bit. I'm second or third on the list. 3 tables of 1-3 going right now. But it gives me an opportunity to talk about last night a little bit. Played for 8.5 hours. I think you saw me cash out. Cashed out for $985, but I was into that game for $900. And to be honest, I probably shouldn't have won last night. I don't think I deserved to win with the way I played early. It was almost like I played one pretty bad losing session, and I never really took a break. Maybe took a walk or something. Then I went and played another 4.5 hours after that. I didn't feel like I was tilted early on, but I noticed myself getting out of line. There was a couple hands in particular. The first one, I am in the big blind with Queen Jack of clubs. There are several limps to me. I bump it up to 21. I'm really trying to steal here and really thin the field. The under the gun player calls. He's got about 300 effective. A late position player with about 150 calls as well. 3 ways to a flop of ace 6-9 with 2 spades. I c-bet $40. Both players call. I think that's a loose c-bet in my opinion, out of position, and it's pretty ambitious. Yes, an ace hits my range, but there's a lot of hands that can call there. The turn pairs me. It's an offsuit queen. This time I decided to check it through since I have some showdown value. I don't necessarily know if I agree with the thought process on this at the time. If one of them has an ace, I'm definitely not beating that ace. And there's also a lot of hands that can come back against me, namely spades. But anyway, I do check it, and it checks through. The river is an offsuit 7. This time I check, and the under the gun player, who seems to be pretty much loose passive. He definitely seems like he's newer to the game. I've seen him do some weird stuff. He bets out $100, and it just doesn't make sense to me that he would bet out $100 with an ace after checking the turn like that. There is a straight that gets there, but it's not a likely straight. 2 pair is a possibility, a river 2 pair. Anyway, he bets the $100, the late position player folds, and like I said, the bet just doesn't make sense to me at the time. I make the hero call, and he shows me 9-7, so he called on the flop. We kept him alive on the turn, and he made his hand on the river, and I paid him off. But really, I feel like my whole line was kind of off on that one. A few hands later, maybe an orbit later or so, we are in the cutoff with 7-8 offsuit. The table is kind of breaking down a bit. We're 5-handed at the time. There's 1 limp to me. Once again, I have 7-8 offsuit, and I'm in the cutoff. I make it 15 to go, kind of opening up the range a little bit. Borderline to play this hand, even still in my opinion. I make it 15. The button calls, the big blind calls, and the limper calls, so it's 4 ways to a flop. Flop is King 5-6 rainbow. Check, check. So this is a good flop for me. I flop the open ender. Checks to me. I put out a c-bet of $40. The big blind calls. The limper calls. The turn is an offsuit deuce. I don't figure it is gonna generate enough folds for me to bet again here. I figure at least one of the players most likely has a king that he's gonna hold on to for another bet. So it checks through. The river is an offsuit ace, and I think that's a hand that hits my range, or at least what they would perceive me to have. So when they check to me, I fire out $80. The big blind folds, and the early position limper pretty much snap calls and shows me ace-9 of spades. So obviously he takes that one down. And this was another kind of seems like a relatively new player to the game itself. Both of those plays, I think, especially the first one, I think the second one is all right. But the first hand, for sure, I definitely kind of just played it awkwardly, and I, in my opinion, got out of line. And I think I did get on tilt. My mood changed. I wasn't having fun at the table. And what really snapped me out of it is when I limped in early position with a pair of threes, pocket threes. I limped. A loose passive type player makes it, I believe, 18 to go from middle position. A late position player calls, and I limp call. Flop comes out 8-9-3 rainbow, so I flop the set. I check it over to the initial raiser. He puts out about a pot-sized bet. The late position player folds. And without thinking about it, this guy's probably got about 200 left at the time. I just kind of grumpily say, I'm all in. And it almost lets this guy get away from his hand. He hemmed and hawed, asked me if I had two pair, asked me if I had a set, and then finally called it off, which was about 200 bucks with pocket jacks, and my hand held and we were good. But it was at that hand I realized, like, I wasn't even thinking. But that set hand with the set of threes kind of snapped me out of it. And I played another 4.5 hours and played pretty solid. Didn't really keep track of any hands whatsoever. And managed to make it out of there that evening after 8.5 hours with an $85 win. In for $900, out for $985. But the story of the night was early on, and just the hole that I dug myself by not playing solid. But I think it's probably my turn to play poker, so we'll see if we can start it off good this evening.